Last 2 weeks, whenever I got the time to learn something, to read something, to understand something, it was very enriching. I read several books, their Kindle editions. One book was regarding the brain, the story of you, fantastic book. During the reading of those, some of the books I got reference of other books, and the next book I read about Checklist Manifesto, and the other book I finished is Design of Everyday Things. So what was the takeaway reading these books? That is the point of discussion today. When I read The Brain, the Story of You, I was able to little bit understand the neural behavior inside us, which was more a matter of understanding how the brain works, how we are connected with our sensory organs and how mind works, etc. etc. But the two books, I forgot to tell another book which I read was Nudge. So Nudge, Checklist Manifesto, Design of Everyday Things. These three books have really enriched my understanding of many things which I can say that earlier I may not be so perfect to understand. I am starting the book Checklist Manifesto. It's a very pragmatic book. Checklist is the only way to stop mistakes. When we know something, when we learn something, at intellectual and academic level, fine, but when we behave something, there are chances of errors. So those complicated things where error can be very, very damaging. Creation of a checklist actually stops us committing the mistakes. Be that aircraft, aviation, surgery, etc. etc. Everywhere checklist matters, and checklist stops mistakes which may be very fatal and which may be very damaging. And during this process I came to know that many surgeons in America, they were not open or receptive to the idea of checklist because they were thinking that it is a kind of insult to their knowledge and all that. Checklist is not an insult to the knowledge. Checklist is simply to avoid behavioral errors, memory based errors, etc. So checklist, I think in our government we talk a lot of SOPs, but I think that we should now move further. Only thinking of SOP may not be suffice. So SOPs should be made, but to adhere to the SOP, now we should have a checklist, and this checklist should be adhered literally, thematically. So the checklist manifesto gave me an idea how to avoid routine errors, how to avoid memory errors, and how to avoid those errors which can prove very costly if they are done. Design of Everyday Things book gave me an idea that design defect, whether it is a product, service, policy, anywhere, is going to hamper the efficiency of that product. So user friendliness, which is a normal term we know, that end user experience, etc., etc., all these things actually indicate that things should be designed in such way so that the error which normally we do because of design defects are avoided. For example, if the door is to be pushed, if you put a handle, obviously we'll pull the door. Suppose there is a fire in the building, if the door is to be pulled, it will create lot of problems because people will not be able to exit, because in the situation of any panic etc., people push the things. So this is a brain mapping situation. So designing anything needs to be done to understand the mental behavior of human beings, natural, so that least disturbance is done to the natural behavior. For example, we all know that our mind takes a decision in a certain way, and it is a proven fact, psychological and research proven for a fact. And if our design is actually to match that, because right now the design is more to cater to the aesthetics of the products, lesser to the user friendliness. So this design of everyday things should be made in such way so that things do not only adhere to the aesthetics, but they should also adhere to the human brain naturalities. And that is the crux of this book. Whether it is a policy design, whether it is structure design, whether it is a functional design, everywhere this design rationalism will make a lot of sense. So that is how very important. So design is very important, and design should be as simple and as natural so that even our subconscious mind is able to understand simplistically. And design should not be complicated. Even washing machine, microwaves, mobile phones, etc., there are so many design complexities that normal person doesn't understand what is this. So this book actually makes this aspect highlighted, that design should be made understanding the normal human mind, and design rationalism will actually enhance the user experience, and in that way will create a better product model than complicated user friendly deficits. Another book which I read, Nudge, as we all know, Nudge is a very important tool to influence behavior. So nudging human behavior rather than coercing it is a very important dimension. And during the reading of this book, only takeaway I got was a mental accounting. For example, when I read the chapter that normally people will splurge the bonus more than the salary, but actually everything is the money. It is a mental accounting, that bonus है यार, इसको खर्च कर लेते हैं. And after reading this book, one idea came into mind that in our account we should have a pleasure account in our bank, recurring account, in which some money should go, and when that money will be accumulated, when we will spend that money, and we will be very nudged to spend that money, because that will be accumulated naturally in our saving account through recurring process. We will feel that no, this is a pleasure account money, and will not feel the pain. So that was one great takeaway in that book. Besides, I could understand that reading all these books, I could understand that the behavioral factors of human being. Of course, when we talk of behavior, neural behavior, mind becomes very important, has a very important role in shaping the events of life, understanding the life, and directing the life not individually but socially. Thank you very much. It's sufficient for today.